We led the show with all the severe weather happening across the country, from flooding to poor air quality to extreme heat waves. All of this severe weather is a product of climate change. Continuing to address the climate crisis is more important than ever, which is why today we begin a week-long series on regenerative agriculture and the impact it could have on the climate crisis in our Sarah Pila right here. She joins me now with more on her exclusive trip to Northern California, where the TomKat Ranch is experimenting with this method. Welcome, Sarah. It's great to have you on, and you always have these extensive and intensive stories, and I love to hear about them. Tell us about what you have for us now.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, that the EPA estimates that industrial agriculture is a very large emitter of greenhouse gas emissions. So while the agriculture sector is really part of the problem, they can also play part of the solution, and that's through regenerative agriculture. And so regenerative agriculture is a philosophy and an approach to farming and ranching that really thinks about how we can cultivate our food working in tandem with nature. I visited the TomKat Ranch in Northern California, where they're experimenting with this philosophy in hopes to change our food system while also fighting our climate crisis. Tucked away in Pescadero, California, along the San Mateo County coast, is the 1,800-acre TomKat grass-fed cattle ranch. The mission-driven ranch was co-founded by social impact investor Kat Taylor and is a science learning lab that practices regenerative agriculture with the intention to change our food system. The practice is all about farming and ranching in harmony with nature.
It is a way of getting back in balance with nature's system, cycles, and balance, and create a wilderness production-based system for all the co-benefits that regenerative ag provides.
This dynamic way of farming revolves around soil health, where an entire underground ecosystem thrives with zillions of microscopic organisms called microbes. For those microbes to flourish, regenerative ag has 5 principles: minimize soil disturbance, keep it covered, maintain living roots, support biodiversity, and integrate livestock. The practices vary, whether you're raising beef or growing fruits and veggies, but healthy soil is an ecosystem powerhouse, conserving water, absorbing nutrients, and capturing carbon, playing a major role in climate change.
It is the biggest solution set that we have because it's both emissions reduction and carbon resequestration at massive scale.
Studies suggest that the global food system is a major contributor to climate change. But while it's part of the problem, a regenerative model offers a solution. But TomKat Ranch director Wendy Millet knows that changing a system of this magnitude is no easy feat.
It costs money, and you got to learn, and you got to take the time to do that. So again, like any industry, it's hard to get people focused just to make time to do that, let alone to spend the money to do that.
Risk also plays a factor for farmers and ranchers in transitioning to regenerative ag. But it's why TomKat Ranch invites folks on site to see what's possible.
And we just had somebody on the tour today, and he has a farm in the Midwest. And he said, I don't think I can get my farm crew to change the whole farm, but I'm pretty inspired. I think I'm going to go home and suggest 50 acres we try. So great, that's a good place, that's a safe to fail trial.
Minimizing risk is a central part of Kat's mission for changing the food system. With a balanced ecosystem that's resilient to climate impacts and weather, she believes this method will protect farmers' livelihoods, boost rural economies, and create a healthy and secure food supply.
Nobody wants to bet the farm, nobody wants to lose the farm, and we understand that. And there has to be demonstrated business success in any new model, and they have to be assured that we have de-risked it.
So the Learning Lab of TomKat Ranch will continue its work to prove that healthy soil makes healthy food and a healthy planet for all. And those effects alone are worth fighting for. Now, part of the mission at TomKat Ranch is to get farmers and ranchers to adopt this mindset shift in a safe way, and proving that this can be an economically viable business model that someone else can do. That's a really important part for them to be able to change the food system.
Well, you kind of lead me to the question I have for you, and that is integrating livestock being a part of the model there. But what if someone isn't raising livestock themselves? Is this something that they can do? Is it applicable to them?
Yeah, definitely. So it is, part of the principles of regenerative agriculture. But these practices can look differently depending on your context. That's really the key in understanding what works best for you, and that'll depend on what you're growing and what kind of climate you're in. We're in a Mediterranean climate here. If you can't use livestock, you might use compost, any organic material that feeds the soil. But generally, it does include animals because it's mimicking the natural cycle of livestock on grassy plains. Plains around the world, just here in North America back in the day, bison used to roam the Serengeti. They roam from plain to plain, and that's part of that natural cycle.
There's so much you learn about when we think of climate change. You don't often think of animals and livestock and soil have anything to do with it, but they do.
Yeah.
And Sarah is going to be with us all week to give us some more on this, on her series on California agriculture. So I'm looking forward to having you on tomorrow, Sarah, and the rest of this week, giving us some great insight.
That's right.
All right, thank you.